Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Here today to talk to you about the Suzanne Simpson case out of San Antonio, Texas. It's the Olmos Park area of San Antonio. She's been missing since October the 6th, which is 42 days now. They have been searching for her in waste sites, landfills, waterways, wooded areas, and have yet to find Suzanne. But her husband is in custody and he has been charged with her murder. So I want to bring this to you today just to catch you up on what's going on and give you the relevant phone numbers in case you are local to the area and you think maybe you might have seen something, or you have an idea of somewhere that they haven't looked. I don't know. If you have a tip, you can call. You can see it on the screen here. Now, if you see Suzanne, who is the beautiful blonde in the picture, call 911. But there have been no signs that Suzanne is still with us, unfortunately. So if you have information, there are 3 numbers you can call. 210-209-2701 is Detective Hector Ruiz. 210-219-2702 is Detective Melissa Campbell, who are both working the case. 210-822-2000 is the Olmos Police Dispatch number. You can call any of those 3 numbers if you have any information on this case. So Suzanne Simpson is a 51-year-old Texas luxury real estate agent. She has been missing, like I said, since October the 6th. Her husband, Brad, who is 53, has been charged with assaulting her and now murder before her disappearance. Her daughter, who is 20 years old from a previous marriage, has spoken out on social media. She's been quite vocal, saying that she believes that Brad took her mother's life. And her name is Chandler Simpson. She's 20. She said, "My mom was a victim of abuse from my father. My father took my mother's life in a state of rage and control." And sadly, that is what it sounds like. This is definitely a DV case, probably coercive control as well. You can see I'm not feeling well today, but you can see I'm wearing my Justice for Micah shirt, which is from the Micah Miller case. I'm wearing it purple for DV awareness, but in that case, there was also DV and coercive control. This case reminds me of quite a few cases that we have covered here. Well, I didn't cover it, but Suzanne Morphew and Barry Morphew reminds me of that a lot. Anna Walsh and Brian Walsh, it reminds me of that a lot because of, it seems that Brad has gone to several different places, maybe disposing of either Suzanne or items related to her disappearance and murder. There doesn't seem like there's going to be a good outcome to this. There really doesn't. Unfortunately. So she disappeared after fighting with him. They had been married for 22 years and they had gone to a party that evening and they went separately. And then after returning home, a neighbor across the street, they were fighting in his yard and he saw her being physically assaulted by Brad. The children in the house saw her be physically assaulted by Brad. She called her mother and said that he had assaulted her. This is all that night. It sounds like a case of it probably went too far and now he's trying to cover it. So I guess we should just jump right in. I've got his arrest affidavit, probable cause here, and I think before we go through it, I want to start at the end because there's a statement at the end of this that I think it's important that we always keep in mind. Get to it. The police always know more than we do. Always. We know maybe 5 to 10% of what they know. And when they get one of these arrest warrants, the probable cause is the bare minimum that they need to say to get the warrant. They're not going to give you everything, but they're going to give you enough that it's probable cause to get this guy behind bars. And one of the last lines on here says, this affidavit is intended to show that there is sufficient probable cause for the requested warrant and does not set forth all my knowledge about this matter. So what is included in this affidavit is awful, but it's not everything. And that's what we need to remember. So what you're hearing in here is enough to make you believe that something happened, and Brad is that something that happened to Suzanne, but they have more. They have a lot more. So let's get into this. So we're going to kind of do a timeline based on information that came from the affidavit, and I just wanted to give you kind of a visual representation so you can follow along. I'm not going to put the affidavit up there because there are some things that I have redacted that they did not redact, but I think my slides cover it pretty well. So on the 6th of October at about 5:30, the Afflecks and Northingtons saw Brad Simpson at the Argyle. Now, the Argyle is a exclusive kind of dinner club in the area. And they were having a 50th birthday party for a woman named Camille Mandigo. I hope I pronounced that right. And Suzanne was not with Brad. So that's at 5:30 on that evening. Suzanne arrived later at the party about 7 o'clock with her 5-year-old daughter, Charlie. And then somewhere after she arrived at 7, Heather Affleck overheard yelling between Brad and Suzanne, so Heather, was distracting Charlie in the Argyle Playhouse while they were fighting. Sometime between 7 and 8, Brad left the party before Suzanne. About 8:30, Suzanne left the Argyle with Charlie. And then Suzanne and Charlie went to H-E-B, which is a big grocery store in Texas, which I wish we had here in Oklahoma because they're really great. It stands for here, everything is better. She went to H-E-B, and Brad, the husband, claimed that she lost her phone at H-E-B. But as we go, you're going to see that she did not lose her phone at H-E-B. This is just a picture showing Argyle and H-E-B. She was seen on surveillance, and she was at the H-E-B with Charlie from 8:40 to 8:51 p.m. At some point after arriving home, Suzanne and Brad had an argument. He hit her in the face and shoved her against the wall. Now, we know this from testimony from one of the children later. Suzanne called Graham Matthews asking for his wife Natalie at 9:15. She said she wanted to go to their house, and she sounded like she was in a rush. And this picture is a picture of the Simpsons' house in Olmos Park. Then at 9:16, she called her mother Barbara and said that Brad had struck her with a closed fist and hurt her arm, neck, and back. And the call lasted until 9:24 p.m. Now, this was at 9:16. Also, at approximately 9:16, Suzanne's cell phone was suspended at the request of the subscriber, who is Brad. And Brad, at that time, was accessing the AT&T application and suspending her service. This contradicts his statement that she lost her phone at H-E-B. If she had lost her phone at H-E-B, she wouldn't have been on the phone making these phone calls, and he wouldn't have been suspending the service. At 9:25, Suzanne's vehicle was seen on surveillance arriving at the Matthews residence. We don't know what time she got home, but at approximately 10, the neighbor directly across the street witnessed Suzanne and Brad arguing loudly in his front yard and physically struggling with each other. Suzanne broke free and ran in a westerly direction, and then he went and got a flashlight and went downstairs because he was going to go check on what was going on. And they were gone, but he heard 2 or 3 screams from the nearby wooded area, which in this picture you can see I circled where they were fighting, and there is a wooded area off to the top right in the picture. Let me see here. It says, where is the neighbor? What's upsetting about the neighbor's account is I know a lot of people don't want to get involved, especially in a domestic violence situation, but had he called this in and the police came, they may have been able to find her maybe in that wooded area, or they could have stopped something from happening. I don't know, but let's see. At around 11 p.m. that night, the neighbor heard Brad's truck start up and depart the area, and he heard it return roughly an hour later, which means the 5-year-old and the 15-year-old were left at home alone, I'm assuming. At 12:33 a.m., his truck was seen on surveillance footage, and it had a large ice chest in the bed of the truck. This is his truck, so keep that in mind. The next morning, on October 7th at 7:53 a.m., he's seen dropping his daughter off at school, the 5-year-old, and then he had at least 2 white trash bags with red handles and a large ice chest in the back of the truck. Then at 9:12 a.m., he was seen at Whataburger on surveillance camera. He bought food with the debit card, and in the back of the truck were at least 3 white trash bags with red handles, a heavy-duty gray trash can, the large ice chest, and a blue tarp and a firewood rack. Let me get to this part. Okay. It says, a large gray heavy-duty trash can and ice chest, a large bulky item wrapped and secured in a blue tarp with a silver in color metal firewood rack placed on top of the blue tarp in a manner to conceal and weigh the tarp down. Upon further observation of the blue tarp, your affiant believes that there is an unknown object concealed within the blue tarp due to its shape and size, and it being secured by a strap or rope. In your affiant's training and experience and past investigations, your affiant is aware that criminals will commonly conceal, transport, or disguise their victims in a manner described above to purposely avoid detection by law enforcement. Now, the silver thing I have by the blue tarp is just, I don't know if that's exactly the kind that he had, but it's a firewood rack, as you can see on this slide. And in my mind, I just picture the blue tarp wrapped up and this being kind of placed upside down over the tarp to kind of hold it in place so nothing's flapping around, nothing's moving. Whatever's under that tarp isn't going to be seen. It's going to stay concealed because it's being held down by this rack. Okay, then he went to Home Depot at 9:53 a.m. And like I said, at Whataburger, he paid with his debit card. At Home Depot, he paid with cash. And while he's at Home Depot, he was seen on the surveillance at Home Depot at 9:53 a.m. purchasing 2 bags of Quikrete cement, an orange Home Depot construction bucket with a lid, a box of 32-count heavy-duty trash bags, 1 bottle of 30-ounce Clorox disinfectant spray, and insect repellent. Your affiant learned that the defendant purchased these items via a cash transaction Your affiant later observed a copy of a Home Depot receipt that documented the purchase of these items by the defendant. Now, what's interesting is when he leaves Home Depot, your affiant learned that with the assistance of the FBI, they located an unknown male in the Home Depot parking lot that was observed speaking with the defendant prior to his purchase on October 7th, 2024. Your affiant learned that this unknown male was identified as, I'm going to not say his name. Your affiant learned from the Texas Rangers that during an interview with him, he confirmed the defendant randomly came up to him in the parking lot asking for directions to the nearest dump in Bernie. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that he provided directions to the name of the dump and where it's located using his cellular device and not the defendant's cellular device. Your affiant notes that during this time, the defendant intentionally shut off his cellular device. Your affiant learned from the Texas Department of Public Safety criminal analyst that the defendant's vehicle, the black 2019 GMC Sierra truck Texas license plate, was captured via, I'm sure it's going to be a flock camera, if I remember correctly, license plate reader at 10:07 a.m. after the Home Depot transaction. Your affiant observed this photograph, which clearly shows the same items observed in the Whataburger surveillance camera. So, that. From a different vantage point. Your affiant notes that the box of trash bags the defendant purchased appears to be in the truck bed as well. Your affiant notes the defendant intentionally entered an on-off cycle of his cellular device to include a lockdown mode after departing Home Depot and speaking with the man in the parking lot. So he just goes up to this random guy and is like, oh, my cell phone's dead or whatever. Can you use your cell phone to give me directions to the nearest dump? Now, I know criminals are not notoriously the smartest people, and that's a good thing. But this guy is trying to be so crafty with his phone, turning it on, off, putting it in lockdown mode, getting other people to use their cell phone so it doesn't show up on his cell phone. But has he completely forgotten about all of the cameras around that are capturing him? Surveillance cameras in the stores, in the parking lots. People have Ring cameras. Flock cameras, which are the license plate readers, are everywhere these days. I mean, he's trying to be so smart that he's not going to get tracked by his cell phone, but he's completely oblivious to the fact that he is on all of these surveillance cameras. It just fascinates me. Your affiant learned from, from Texas Department of Public Safety criminal analysts that vehicle location data obtained from the defendant's vehicle, so this would be the telematics system probably, captured his vehicle on October 7th, 2024 near the dump in Kendall County, Texas. Your affiant learned that surveillance video from a nearby business in the area of the waste site captured the defendant's vehicle driving away from the waste site. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that defendant's vehicle was later observed at the Valero Stripes gas station. Sorry, lost my place. Located in Kendall County, Texas on October 7th, 2024 at 11:15 a.m. Your affiant notes the defendant arrived at the gas station after departing the waste site. Your affiant observed a surveillance video of the defendant utilizing his debit card to purchase gasoline for his truck. The defendant later purchased 2 one-gallon jugs of water via a cash transaction. Your affiant notes that upon further review of the surveillance video, the white trash bags are now missing from the defendant's truck bed, but the blue tarp, firewood rack, and trash can are still present. Your affiant notes that upon further review of the surveillance footage, the defendant has changed footwear from black in color men's sandals into dark-colored cowboy-styled boots. So, he purchased the gas with the debit card, but he purchased the water with cash. Maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't. He's changed his shoes from sandals to boots. I feel like he's getting ready to work with concrete. And here's why. He bought 2 gallons of water. And a 50-pound bag of Quikrete concrete gets mixed with a gallon of water. So I can't prove it, but I think he got those gallons of water not because he was thirsty and really wanted to drink 2 gallons of water, but he got it to mix with the Quikrete in the bucket that he bought from the Home Depot. What he does with the concrete, I'm not sure, but I'm sure your imagination can fill in some blanks on that one. Like I said, that's just my opinion. I have no proof of that, and it's not being alleged in any of the documents. I just find it very coincidental because I've used Quikrete, and I was pretty sure that was the amounts that it called for, but I double checked, and you can see on my slide I clipped that from their website. Okay, so let's go. So now we're wearing cowboy boots. Your affiant learned that a video canvassing team located a surveillance camera showing the defendant's vehicle headed westbound from Bernie, Kendall County, Texas, into Bandera County, Texas, on October 7th, 2024. Your affiant notes the blue tarp with the fire rack on top of it remained in the defendant's truck bed. And what is in Bandera County? Medina Lake. Now, why is that important? Well, Suzanne had told her personal banker that if she ever went missing to look for her in a lake. Now, Medina Lake, as you can see in these pictures, is drying up because of the drought. Like, we had a horrible drought here in Oklahoma this summer, and they did in Texas as well. And I think I heard that it's like maybe got 30% of the water in it that it would normally have. But you can see it's mostly just rock and very shallow bits of water. Now, my thinking, nothing conclusive, nothing that they have said, whatever, just my thinking is he stopped, he got the water to mix with the concrete, allegedly, in my opinion, and he's going out here where here is this lake. Now, one of two things could happen. You can see all the rock, everything out there looks like concrete, right? Could he have been mixing that concrete up to hide Suzanne or things related to her disappearance in concrete and just have it blend in with the rock and the sediment from the bottom of the lake? Or did he take it where there was maybe a little bit more water and try to weigh something down? Because we're starting to get rains moving through here now. We're getting into wintertime, so maybe the water's going to come back. I don't know. Hopefully it's not going to recede anymore. Could he have weighed it down in one of the parts of the lake that still had water? I don't know. But just from looking at it, it would be really easy to just have something blend in with all the rock out there if you encased it in concrete. But again, I don't know. This is just my mind, my thinking. And now we're going to see kind of why my mind went that way. Okay. So location data captured his truck traveling westbound through Bandera County, Texas, and into Bandera County, Texas, which is Medina Lake. Your affiant notes the defendant intentionally entered an on-off cycle of his cellular device while traveling towards Bandera County, Texas. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that he was told by company something. Sorry, that was redacted. That he was able to obtain surveillance footage which showed the defendant's vehicle in Bandera County, Texas on the 7th of October, 2024. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that he was advised by Texas Ranger that the defendant's vehicle remained in Bandera County, Texas area for approximately 13 minutes prior to heading eastbound back into Kendall County, Texas. So 13 minutes is pretty quick, right? But he could have mixed it up, put whatever, encased it in the concrete, left it out there. It's called quikrete for a reason. It sets up fast, right? He isn't necessarily going to stay there until it's completely set up. He may have just like done it and ditched, right? He just dropped it and went. I don't know. But his family has property in Bandera, so that's something to look at as well. Let's see here. 13 minutes. Okay, and then his truck was captured via a license plate reader flock camera at 1:41 p.m. entering the Bernie, Kendall County, Texas area from Bandera County, Texas. Your affiant notes upon further observation that now the blue tarp is no longer visible and the firewood rack is now repositioned within the truck bed. So in the time between going to Valero and getting the gallons of water that could have been mixed with a quikrete, going to where this lake is, and he also has property, now suddenly the blue tarp has vanished. Make of it what you will. Again, it's just my thinking here. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that upon further review of surveillance footage from October 7th, the defendant was observed at approximately 3:27 p.m. He was picking his daughter up from school. He got a call from the school that his wife hadn't picked up their daughter, so he went to pick her up, and he was caught on surveillance camera again. Now, the truck bed is clear of the blue tarp and the metal firewood rack, and it has the ice chest and the large gray heavy-duty trash can visible. Then at approximately 4:07, he is seen on surveillance cameras at a car wash. He was washing and cleaning the driver front side and the rear left passenger side of the passenger compartment. Your affiant later reviewed photographs of the defendant's vehicle and contents taken by Texas Rangers. Your affiant noted dried cement splashes were later located in the rear passenger compartment of the vehicle, to include in the truck bed. So that's probably where he mixed it. Your affiant also observed a photograph that showed a 30-ounce Clorox bottle located within the rear passenger compartment of the vehicle. The truck bed contained only the ice chest with no other items that were observed in previous surveillance videos. And I'm just going to leave this up here. This is the picture of Suzanne, the picture of his truck, a picture of him, and the important phone numbers while we go through the rest of the information in this affidavit. So on the 10th of October, your affiant conducted a non-custodial interview. Who's this with? Let's see. Oh, this would be the business partner. Let me get his name here. So his business partner has also been arrested. James Val Cotter, and he has been arrested, as well as Brad. They were both charged with tampering and fabricating physical evidence with intent to impair, and a prohibited weapon-related charge. The weapon-related charge is what the partner has been charged with. They had a AK-47 that was fully automatic and was not registered. On October 8th, Brad had texted Cotter saying, "If you're in Bandera, can you haul ass and meet me at your house? I don't have much time." Brad messaged Cotter again, adding, "Okay, make sure to leave all that shit in the pump house, especially that gun." Another text from Brad said, "I'm sorry for the urgency, but you're all I got, especially now. Social media is destroying me." 2 weeks later, a person told Almost Park police that Brad had requested Cotter to go to his house in Almost Park to secure a rifle. The person described the rifle as an AK-47 that was fully automatic. The person told the police that the gun was hidden behind a wall in Cotter's bedroom. When Almost Park police searched Cotter's residence, they found an AK-47 behind a TV mounted inside his bedroom. Okay, and then these are just some notes that I had made. On Monday, October 7th at 7:15 a.m., which would be before he took the daughter to school, that was the last activity on Suzanne's phone, and the coordinates showed the phone in a business parking lot in Almost Park, but her cell phone has still not been found. Okay, so this interview is just basically about those text messages. On the night of October 8th, they obtained an arrest warrant for Brad for the offenses of assault, family violence, and unlawful restraint. He was arrested in Kendall County, Texas, for his active warrants in the early morning hours of Wednesday, October 9th. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that the defendant did not appear surprised at the time of his arrest, nor did the defendant question why he was being arrested. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that he conducted a custodial interview of the defendant and observed numerous lacerations and bruises on the defendant's hands and arms. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that the defendant again claimed to him that Suzanne Simpson had lost her phone at the HEB on Sunday, October 6, 2024. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that the defendant appeared unconcerned about his wife being missing and showed little to no emotion. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that the defendant invoked his right to counsel after being questioned about the physical altercation that occurred between the defendant and Suzanne Simpson on October 6th of 2024. On October 9th, 2024, the Texas Rangers and Almost Park police executed a search warrant at the defendant's residence. Your affiant observed an indentation located on the wall at the bottom of the stairway at the residence. Now, think about that, because we know from her phone calls that he had pushed her into the wall. He punched her in the face and he pushed her into the wall so hard it left an indentation in the wall. So she was obviously hurt, obviously. Your affiant later interviewed the Simpsons' housekeeper, who confirmed to your affiant that she last worked at the Simpson residence on October 7th, 2024. Your affiant asked Rodriguez, the housekeeper, to identify the type of trash bags that the Simpsons would utilize. She described the trash bags as white in color with red handles. Your affiant learned from the Almost Park Public Works Division the Simpsons utilize trash service through the city and that their normal pickup day is Mondays. So there's no reason that he needs to be going to the dump to dump trash bags, right? Because he could have just put them in the trash on October 7th, which was Monday. So the day that he's driving around with trash bags in his truck and dumping them wherever, that's the day the trash was going to come. So he could have just thrown them away at home, but he didn't. So what was in those trash bags? Later that afternoon, Texas Rangers executed a search warrant at the defendant's property. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that they had located a ground-level burn site with a burnt laptop and multiple cellular devices. Now, this is the property in Bandera County. Your affiant noted on October 8th, a Bandera County Sheriff's Office deputy had contacted the defendant at the property while he was standing by the active fire. Your affiant later learned from Texas Department of Public Safety criminal analysts that 3 cell phones recovered from the burn pit were identified as belonging to the defendant. Your affiant's training and experiences taught him that criminals often engage in destruction of evidence in an effort to impair or hinder a criminal investigation. Now, why in the world would he be burning a laptop and 3 cell phones? And why did he have 3 cell phones? But I'm assuming that none of those were Suzanne's, because they still say that her phone is missing. Your affiant obtained search warrants for call detail records for the defendant's cellular service and Suzanne Simpson's cellular service, and a search warrant for defendant's cell phone, iPhone 14 Plus, in his possession at the time of his arrest on the 9th of October. The Texas Rangers later executed these search warrants. Pursuant to the search of the defendant's cell phone, your affiant learned from Texas Department of Public Safety criminal analysts and FBI forensic examiners that they had located 2 notes within the listed device, which were titled "This Next Life" and "Last Will and Testament," apologizing for physically assaulting Suzanne Simpson one time in August of 2023 and again on the previous Sunday night, October 6, 2024. Your affiant learned the defendant created these notes on the 8th of October, which was after the alleged assault of Suzanne Simpson on the 6th of October and prior to his arrest by the Texas Rangers on the 9th of October. On the 10th of October, your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that pursuant to a search warrant, the Texas Rangers searched the defendant's vehicle, which was identified as the black 2019 GMC Sierra. Your affiant learned that during the vehicle search, Texas Rangers identified stains that tested presumptively positive for blood. Your affiant later learned from Bexar County Criminal Investigation Laboratory that the blood evidence belonged to the defendant. So I thought, oh, they got him, but it wasn't Suzanne's blood, it was his own blood. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that on the 23rd of October, he interviewed a Frost Bank employee who was Suzanne Simpson's personal banker. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that the banker disclosed that Suzanne Simpson made an outcry of being physically abused by the defendant, and the defendant would commonly take her cell phone away. Texas Rangers told your affiant that the banker advised him that Suzanne Simpson told her that the defendant would tell their children that she had lost her phone after the defendant took it from her. Texas Rangers told your affiant that she told him that Suzanne Simpson advised her that if she went missing to look for her in a lake. She was Suzanne Simpson's personal banker over this past financial year. Your affiant notes that Texas Rangers told him that this conversation took place around August of 2024. So, 2 months before she went missing. She was telling them that she was abused and he would take her cell phone away and that if she goes missing, look for her in a lake. Your affiant reviewed cell phone data from the defendant's cell phone, which captures a text message communication from a female. Your affiant observed a text message that the defendant sent on the 17th of September. Your affiant observed the following information. The text says, "I still feel bad about tonight. I never should have grabbed her phone and drove off, but she was so protective of it. My dumb ass didn't know her passcode, so I got locked out and had to bring it back. I really have no interest in looking through her phone or anybody else's. These devices are the devil." Your affiant requested that the Texas Rangers interview someone at her residence in somewhere. Okay, sorry, let me see here. This person said that Suzanne Simpson was aware that the defendant would track her, and the defendant was extremely jealous. So that's where the coercive control comes in. He's tracking her everywhere she goes, and he's extremely jealous. On the 23rd, they conducted a subsequent search warrant at the Simpson residence. They located 1 bag of Quikrete cement and the box of heavy-duty black trash bags, a gray heavy-duty trash can, and the metal firewood rack. Your affiant was advised by Texas Rangers that the box of trash bags contained only 28 bags out of the 32 total trash bags. So 4 were missing. The defendant has been incarcerated since the 9th of October. There are no signs of Suzanne Simpson being alive since the defendant physically assaulted her on the 6th of October. This has been verified by Suzanne Simpson's cell phone records, financial records, family, friends, and co-workers. Your affiant is aware that no credible tips or information were obtained from the active Texas Clear Alert, and law enforcement has been unable to locate Suzanne Simpson after a large amount of search efforts. All family, friends, and co-workers agree the victim would never willingly abandon her children. And then, like I said, he states this affidavit is intended to show that there is sufficient probable cause for the requested warrant and does not set forth all my knowledge about this matter. Okay. Sorry, this is such a scattered video, but like I said, I don't feel good, but I feel like this case is so important that we have to get this stuff out there. And part of what really stands out to me in this case is he doesn't have support like from his family. I mean, we have the daughter speaking out, the 20-year-old daughter speaking out, saying that she believes that he killed Suzanne. We have the 5-year-old daughter telling her teacher what happened about the fighting and that her dad hit her mom in the face and pushed her into a wall and took away her cell phone. The 20-year-old daughter described her as a phenomenal mother, hardworking, driven, loving, and kind. And then this, to me, was really big. Brad's own brother condemned his lack of cooperation with law enforcement, saying it is essential to assist investigators, especially in a case where a mother of 4 is missing. I find it unimaginable that anyone would withhold cooperation when a loved one's life may be in jeopardy. In this situation, cooperation could provide answers to help the family find closure or move forward. For Brad to refuse to assist, even if it poses some risk to himself, demonstrates a concerning lack of empathy for those he claims to love. That's his own brother saying that. And then his friend and business partner of 25 years getting arrested because he hid the gun. I don't know if he made some sort of a deal, but he has been released on house arrest, and Brad is still being held, thank goodness. But the business partner is out and on house arrest, so I'm hoping he's cooperating with authorities. But, you know, Brad went so far as to, you know, he's not cooperating, but he also just didn't show up for an interview with the police that he had scheduled. He just didn't show up. Okay, let's see. Gone over the timeline, gone over the affidavit. So that's pretty much all I have now, but I am still digging in to get more details on this case. I just ask that you all keep her family in your prayers. They need it, because this is just absolutely heartbreaking. And just pray that they can find, you know, they eventually found Suzanne Morphew's body. There's still no justice in that case. The case I had mentioned about Brian and Anna Walsh, you know, he had gone around the Boston area dropping pieces of her clothing and pieces of her at different locations, and they still have not recovered Anna Walsh's body. So yeah, just keep them in your prayers, and let's hope that there will be some justice in this case. I want to thank you as always for spending part of your day with me. Ask that you subscribe, that you like this video, get it out there in the algorithm so more people can see it, more people can talk about it. And like I said, if you have any information, call one of these numbers. And I know we say it all the time, but if you see something, say something. There's a lot of lessons that could be learned in this case. And I will be back with you with more information as I get it. Thank you all, and take care. Bye.